Aloha sewing friends! Welcome back to my sewing pattern tutorials channel where I teach you to make cute beginner-friendly sewing projects every single week. And today I'm going to show you how to sew the cutest little messenger bag, perfect for kids or adults, boys or girls. And yes, it does fit a cell phone, so if you wanted to use it as a cell phone purse, you can do that. It has an optional front pocket that is super easy, one more strip of fabric to put on top, and we can sew this whole thing together. If you're interested, I designed the free matching messenger card wallet to go inside of it. It takes like 10 minutes to sew. Comment the word Aloha below, like and subscribe, and I will send you that pattern for free. I also designed these cute little pretend play cards and the handmade tags so that if you're using these for kids, it'll be a really cute addition to add to your little gift. My kids absolutely loved them. So let's get started. Here's what you're gonna need. Your main fabric for the outer purse, the lining fabric. You're gonna need this outer fabric for your flap and a lining as well for your flap. And if you wanna add the optional pocket, you will also get another piece out of the outer main fabric for your purse and cut the pocket piece. We're just gonna fold it in half and it's gonna create an easy pocket. You can make straps if you want to, or you can buy pre-made straps, which is called webbing. In the tutorial linked below in the description box, I will explain how to make those straps for you. On your outer main fabric that you want to show, I added one-sided fusible fleece. I did that as well to half of the pocket piece, but it's completely optional. It just adds a little bit of structure to your bag. To assemble the flaps, you just get the two pattern pieces for the lining and the outer bag, place them right sides together so that the pretty sides of the fabric are kissing, pin or clip around it, and then you're gonna sew using a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance all the way around the sides and the bottom. I have a question. When you're watching sewing tutorial videos, is it annoy you or make you wanna not watch anymore if they add where they're actually sewing it like I am here? Some beginners have told me that it helps them learn to sew, especially if you've never done something like this and sew around a corner, but some people give me the feedback that they don't like it. So will you let me know in the comments below? Now you want to clip all 4 of the corners that you've created right up to the stitch line, so that way when we flip this right side out, like we can go ahead and do now through the hole opening at the top, that our corners will poke out nicely. They won't bulk up or be rounded. I use a chopstick to go in and poke out my corners. You can also use something like a pin or anything along that nature. If you want to be extra, you can top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the sides. I'm not going to do that though. We're making this super simple. So here is the pocket piece. You get that fabric and you literally just fold it in half with the wrong sides together. And again, if you want to, you can top stitch about 1/8 of an inch away from the top fold. I went ahead and did that to show you what it would look like. It just holds the fabric nice on the front and the back side. Then you're going to get what's going to be the front of your bag. And make sure if you have a directional print like I do, you are facing the fabric the right direction, so it's not upside down. Pin or clip it all the way around the bottom pieces so that you just hold this in place, and let's put it to the side. This is going to be the back of my bag. I want to go ahead and fold it in half and make a small snip, just big enough so I can see it right at the top mid-center point. We're going to use that in just a minute. Now you're going to get your straps. Again, the tutorial for that is linked below in the description box. If you want to make your own, I will show you how, or you can buy pre-made straps. Place them about 1/2 inch away from both sides, and then you want to get your top flap for your messenger bag and fold it in half and find the top mid-center point of that as well. For this piece, you want to make sure that the fabric you want showing on the outer bag is what you put face down. So this is going to be the lining, this pink. Now match up those 2 little slits that are just big enough for you to see them and pin or clip right on top of your straps. If you don't want the straps too far away from the edge, you can also line them up right to the sides of where the flaps are. Now you want to sew a basting stitch, which is just a small stitch right close to the edge of the fabric to hold these pieces together. It will not show on your finished bag, so don't worry about how it looks. I went ahead and did that, and you can see that if I lift up that flap, it has the straps attached and the flap attached to the back side of your bag. Now we want to just go ahead and move the straps and the flap sides away from the raw edges on the side of your bag. So that way we won't sew them closed on accident later. Now you're going to go ahead and get the front of your bag with the pocket piece if you added that, and lay it with the right sides together right on top, sandwiching everything in between. You can see the pretty sides of my fabric right now are kissing on the inside. Pin or clip all the way around this, and let's sew it using a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance right around the sides and the bottom. Do not sew across the top. Here's mine all sewn. And then I went ahead and clipped my corners just like we did before, so those points are nice and pointy when we flip this right side out right now. I make these little bags for my kids. I love making little purses and different styles for birthday parties or kids their age. I also made this one in an adult version for myself to hold my cell phone and my stuff when we're going to travel in a couple of weeks. Who would you sew this for? So now let's go ahead and get the straps, wrap it around the back and to the front and tuck them into the pocket. We're doing this to get them out of the way. Then you want to make sure that your flap is facing the back side. Put that aside and let's go ahead and sew together our lining of the bag. With your fabrics right side together, the pretty sides of the fabric are kissing. We are going to sew using a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter allowance all the way around this, except we're going to leave about a 3-inch opening across the bottom right here. We are not going to sew this area closed. I will show you how I do that really quickly. You literally just sew all the way down the side, across the bottom to where that first little marking that I made was. I cut my thread and then I start sewing again where my second mark clip is. You can guesstimate about 3 inches. It does not have to be exact. We just do this so that we can flip this right side out here in a little bit. It'll make more sense in just a few minutes. So go ahead and clip your corners like I've done. We are not going to turn this right side out yet, even though our outer bag is right side out. What you're going to do is you're going to get your outer bag, fold it in half, and then you're going to tuck it right inside the lining. You want to match up those side seams on both sides and pin or clip those in place, and then pin or clip all the way around the rest of the top of this right here. I love how quickly this bag and most of my easy bags come together in a sewing project, because I am all about instant gratification when it comes to sewing. If you want more sewing patterns like this, make sure you like and subscribe to this video because I post things every single week. Now let's go ahead and sew all the way around the top of this bag. You're not leaving any openings, just literally sew all the way around. And don't forget, you're using a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Here's mine sewn together. Now you can see why we left that hole opening down in the bottom of our lining. You're gonna go right inside that hole and pull your purse out, right side out. You do not need to smoothen out the seams of your lining just quite yet. First, let's go ahead and close that hole opening. You do this by putting your fingers right inside and pulling it apart. When you do that, it should flip that fabric of the seam allowance right into it, and then you're going to sew a top stitch right close to the edge of where that hole opening is, about 1/8 of an inch away. You can see I've done that here. If you don't want it to show, even though it's just the lining of the bag, you can close it by hand with a blind ladder stitch. The tutorial linked below will also show you how to do that. Now you're just going to separate the purse from the front and the back and tuck your lining in, and that's when you'll smoothen out the seams on the inside lining. I like to press it flat with my iron so that way the lining is not showing up above the seam of my outer fabric. And you can be completely done at this point if you want to. If you are not about that top stitching life, you can just leave it just like this. It's perfect, but I'll show you how I top stitch around it to make sure nothing moves around. I just go right close to the edge, about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from the edge here, making sure the lining is nice and even and that I keep the flap and the straps away from my sewing. I go all the way around starting near a side seam, and then we are truly done. I don't add snaps or Velcro to this, but you could absolutely do that if you wanted to have a closure. And don't forget, the cute mini messenger card wallet pattern is absolutely free. If you comment the word Aloha below, I will send it to you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I post more sewing tutorials like this every single week, sometimes more than once a week. I'm just a nurse and a mom of 4 who loves to sew. And thank you so much for your support and for watching my tutorial. So before you go, mahalo.